Sure we're going. So it says we're live. Let's just see if it actually.
That is too good.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Nothing better when your phone is ringing off the hook with deals though, right? Like that's amazing.
150%. We were just talking, for those of you joining, we sent out some mailers and it's hard to keep my phone from not ringing right now. So if you guys see me looping back and forth, that's the reason why.
I love it. I love it. And if you see me black out my screen or something, it's because I've been drinking a gallon of water every day. And you see my gallon here. I'm probably running to the bathroom. So anyway, I'll do my best. I went right before we started the call. So anyway, we'll see. So hope everybody's doing well out there. We're going to go ahead and I can't really tell. I see Rosie Rivera. Great to see you. I see Joe Perez. Great to see you. I see Facebook user. Let's go. I see Facebook user. I'm ready for this fire.
What's going on? You guys, just real fast for some housekeeping stuff. If you're just joining, click that StreamYard. If you're on Facebook, there's the little bio of what we're talking about today. Yeah, there it is right there. You see that blue button, that StreamYard.com//Facebook. Go ahead and click that. What that will do is I'll sync to your Facebook. So when you do a comment, we can see it here. And then we can put you up on a little screen. Everybody can see your face. They can even follow you. You can get some followers from it on the gram. So make sure you guys do that. Click StreamYard.com/Facebook right in there, right? It's right on the top. Yep, that blue link.
Cool. There you go. Look at us. We're figuring it out. We're starting to figure this thing out. So someday we're going to be good at this.
So one day.
If we work really hard, one day we'll be good at this.
Right on. Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Squad Up Call 0028. We're really excited today. It's Pump Up Wednesday. What I mean about that is we have some knowledge we're going to drop today. We have some really good stuff that's really going to help your career, your business, whether if you're a real estate agent, whether if you're a wholesaler, flipper, lender, doesn't matter what you're doing. You guys, this call is for you, but what you need to do, you need to grab a piece of paper, you need to grab a pen. You want to take some notes on today's call. And then what we're going to ask is that you guys be interactive, ask questions. If you can, do me a huge favor and in the comments, ask the questions. What that will allow us to do, we can bring your little face up on the screen. Your question will be public. Everybody can see it. We can get in live and we can really make this an interactive, fun call. So you guys up for that? You guys willing to play all out today? If you're willing to play all out today, just say yes out loud on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes!
Yes!
All right, let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. TYLG, take it away.
Yeah, so a couple things that we're going to talk about today. I know that it's February and it's a brand new month, right? We're a couple of days into the new month. And I know there's a lot of energy and a lot of people excited. And even, some of you maybe had a really great December, a great January. Others, maybe you took some time off in December, or you're just still kind of January, you were recovering, or you were just trying to get back into momentum coming back from the holiday. So today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to do two things today. Is we're going to talk about underwriting, and I'm going to pass it over to Adrian here in a minute because he's prepared some stuff to talk about more about the safe zone, how to underwrite a wholesale deal, how to underwrite a flip deal. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go in depth. The second thing we're going to do, and I'll just show you guys and give you guys a little preview here. So if I go to my screen share, just so I want to make sure it works is the main reason why I'm going to it now. So the Squad Up, you can see there, we created a form and we're going to go over this on writing a business plan, a monthly business plan. We've talked a lot about business plans, but specifically on a monthly business plan, I would highly encourage you, each and every one of you, every single month, you should be setting new goals and new standards of what you want. What do you really, really want in your business? And then also equally as important, why do you want it? Equally more important, what are you actually going to do to get it? So it's so critical right now. We're in a new year. There's a lot of hype. Hey, new year, new me, new you. Most people have fallen off. Most people are not going to the gym. This is the time And so for our group, I know our group's not that. Even if everybody has some imperfections, even if your diet can be a little tighter, even if your workouts can be a little better, even if your prospecting can be a little better, your daily routines, your schedules, your rituals, all of those things. What I know, not our group. I know our group is doubling down in the month of February. So we're going to talk about specifically, we're going to share and talk about a business plan, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set the table for Adrian here. Because I know, Adrian, we talked a lot. We fire hosed information last week. We threw a lot at him. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It was I had to go back and watch the call because there was just a lot that we spit out at the beginning. There was a lot throughout the entire call, and I hope we took notes ourselves. And what we would really love to know is what questions do you guys have from last call? Is there anything that came up that maybe we could put some clarification on from the last call that we did last week? That would be huge. And I do just want to give some shout out to some people that are commenting in the chat. We got Ali, we got Eric Allegado, great to see you, E. We got Juan Ponce, great to see you, Juan. And then on the back end, I'm not seeing the back end, but it looks like we got Armando and we got Yurio Ojeda. Great to see you, Yurio.
So I want to point out, like you guys see Juan on there where he says, "What's up, guys?" And you see his handsome face there with the beautiful marina in the background. Or even if I click on the other very handsome Mr. Eric Allegado, if you see that, the reason why that we can see his comment and we can share. So this is really important when we do questions. And let me show you the difference. So you see Eric there, you see Juan there, and then you see Facebook user, right? So Facebook user, you see that, how we got the Facebook users. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys again one more time, and then I'm going to pass it to Adrian so that he can get rolling into underwriting. But specifically on your phone or on your laptop computer, you'll see that blue link. So if you see that blue link there, just click on that. It says StreamYard.com/ I believe it says Facebook. If you click on that, what that'll do is that will allow us to see your comments and questions. That way we can showcase you, promote you, and then also obviously answer the question. So hopefully this helps. So without further ado,
yeah, let's get into it, guys. So today we're going to go right into underwriting. We're going to talk about underwriting. We're going to talk about how do we underwrite a deal. I get questions. I've had this question since the beginning of the year on all the different platforms, from YouTube to TikTok to Facebook. There's at least this question once a week. How do we underwrite a deal? How do we figure out what's a deal? How do we know how much spread to have in that deal? So right now is a really good time for us to pay attention to what I'm about to go through, because this is going to help you set up a deal, rather if you're looking for a wholesale deal or rather if you're looking for a flip deal, okay? And we have the one and only Mr. Pablo Escobar, the king of wholesaling in South, Mr. Nick Ramirez. What's up, Nick? What's up, Nick? What's up, Nick? All right. So let's get into this, guys. What I want to share with you first is I'm going to share with you the safe zone. Now, I do want to say we don't give out the safe zone. That's something that we do inside of our mentorship program, but this is nothing more than you can create yourself. It's a very, very easy thing to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into screen share. Okay. And I want to share with you guys. Let's see if this works. All right, cool. So can you see this chart here? Can you guys see this chart?
Let's see. Maybe I'm going to add it to the stream. There it is.
Perfect.
I think we maybe got to zoom in just a little bit, Adrian, if you can make it a little bit larger. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Perfect. There you go.
Perfect. So first I'm going to come over here to this sheet here, guys. And this is sheet number 1. Let me get rid of this format tab. Okay. Can you guys all see that okay? All right, perfect. So what this is saying is that if the property and what we're looking at is on an ARV perspective, okay? What we are saying is that if the property is anywhere between $100,000 to $500,000, we want a minimum of $100,000 spread. So if I'm buying the property for $200,000, I want to really get that at 100. Now you're saying, well, Adrian, how does that make sense? So your $100,000 property, I need to get it at 0. Well, what I'm saying is you need to get it like at $5,000, $10,000. Yeah, because if it's going to cost $60,000 to remodel that property and it's worth $100,000 and the investor wants to make $20,000, How are they supposed to do that if they're paying over 30K for the property? It doesn't make sense. So the whole point here, guys, is let's just super simplify it. Remember, complexity is the enemy of execution. We've all heard this before by Tony Robbins. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So if I have all of these crazy spreadsheets, it's going to be very hard for me to simplify and execute. So very simple. You want at least $100,000 minimum spread between 100K and 500K, typically anything below $500,000. Now, if we're talking about anything above $500,000, 500,000 to $1 million, we want at least $150,000 spread. So if it's worth 500, I need to get it under contract at what price? 350. That's correct. I need to get it at least at 350 in order for me to make some money and for the investor, whoever picks this up, to make the money. Really important to understand. TY, anything to share about the minimum of the 100 to 150?
No, I think too, you just got to scale it. What I would share is that when you're looking at this, because a lot of people I know we've got a mixed audience. So I know some people are working around that $500,000, ARV price range after repair value. But also too, like I do deals in $350,000 neighborhoods. So in a $350,000 neighborhood, I've got to look at it and go, okay, what kind of yield do I need? I need to at least build in, potentially, I would say probably 12 to 18% in terms of a yield to actually do the flip. And then obviously then all my hard cost improvements. I've also got to look at, what the soft costs are, which are going to be, real estate commissions. Even though I'm a broker, I'm not paying a listing broker commission per se, but I'm still offering out 2.5% or whatever the case may be, probably 2.5 or 3 to a co-op buyer's broker. I'm also going to probably have some closing costs, transfer taxes. Some parts of the Bay Area, most parts of the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area have very expensive transfer taxes. So, I've made the mistake of not factoring that in. And not only I had it when I was buying it, but I also had big transfer taxes. I'm talking like $10,000, $12,000 in transfer taxes in some markets when we were buying as well as when we were selling. We were paying half of it when we were selling, and we were paying all of it when we're buying, because that's kind of part of our absorption to make it easy on the seller. So you really have to look at your hard costs and soft costs, and you got to figure out what's the right spread in your market, and in those price range, in those neighborhoods that you're working. Does that make sense, Adrian? Absolutely, guys. And it leads me right into what I want to share with you. And it leads me right into what we call the safe zone. So here we have a safe zone. And what the safe zone is we are thinking in the mind of the investor. We are looking at all of the costs that an investor has to go through in order for them to make it a deal. So how I learned this is I was playing the reverse role. I was trying to figure out the front end before realizing the back end. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to make prior to paying attention to what the investor is seeing. So here's a what we call the Evo squat up, right? The safe zone. And inside the safe zone, here's a sample deal for you guys. So here's a sample deal. You can see that we're paying $565 for this property. Most people pay anywhere between 2 to 3%, 2 to 3 points in the front end. So most hard money lenders, they have to come in and they're charging 2 to 3% on the front end. So in this case, it's 2%. So 2 points, you may hear points, right? 2 points in the front end. So we're paying $11,300. And our interest on this is 10% for the year. So if I divide that by 12 and we hold this property for 4 months, that tells me that there's going to be a holding cost of $18,833 with 33 cents. Okay. What this safe zone tells me, is that after the purchase price, points, and interest, and rehab, that this $645, you guys see this right here? You see the $645, $133? That's my safe zone loan payoff. Meaning, if an investor was to buy this property, they have to sell it for a minimum of $645 just to break even. And matter of fact, that's not even including selling costs. That's just paying off the loan.
That's not including realtor fees. That's not including commissions or any of that. So then knowing that, right, when we know that, so now we go, okay, well, what would be commissions? What would be realtor fees? In this case, we list our own property, but if you're not and you're a flipper, you're probably going to have to pay anywhere between 4.5% to 5%. Let's call it 4.5%. So now we're saying that after paying off realtor fees, closing costs, loan, rehab, points, and interest, that tells me that I have to sell this property for $677,578 just for it to make sense, just for me to break even all the way across the board. Why is this important to understand? Well, this is important to understand because now we can see what the flipper is looking at, what the other side, the end buyer, is looking at. And this will allow us to have some buying power when we go in to shop for these deals, or when we're shopping a deal. I always input the deal in here, and this gives me a number on what we can, of where we can be. So if the ARV on this is 725, this person is making $47,241. If I divide that number by the number that they have out of their pocket, they have pretty much a 0.8% return on the money that they have out compared to the money that they're getting back. Ty?
No, it looks good. It looks good, man. I think, it's interesting too, because I think the biggest thing too that I want to illustrate here, or just bring to the surface, is that you really have to know your numbers, and we've heard that time and time again. We probably know that intellectually, meaning like we've heard it said many, many times. Most of the time we think about, okay, know your numbers, specifically like how much prospecting, how much follow-up, how many contacts per day, how many contacts per week, how many appointments do you go on? Of those appointments, how many deals do you get signed? I think for the most seasoned people here, they understand those numbers. But what we're saying is that, look, if you're going to put money in the game, if you are going to pay to play, if you are going to actually be in this business and really have sustainable success, you need to be able to really be able to run through a spreadsheet. And, what Adrian showed us was it was a simple spreadsheet, right? It was very simple. Top line, you got the after repair value, and then you've got your hard costs and your soft costs. Hard cost being the actual acquisition is a hard cost. Your actual construction, your building materials, everything, your renovation, your rehab, everything that you're going to put into the house. And then your soft costs are going to be things like closing costs, transfer taxes, insurance, interest, because you'll probably have a period of hold, from the time you buy it to the time you actually close it out on the resale. You have to factor all of these things in. And again, we're not trying to complicate this. We want to give you guys the right information. What's nice is that this will be on YouTube. I have no idea where to find it, but it will be on YouTube. It'll stay in the Facebook group, so you guys can replay it and really kind of zoom in and take a look at that spreadsheet. But there's tons of spreadsheets out there. Keep it simple, but you really have to know your math. You really have to know how to really, punch in all of these numbers and really look at what your true operating, your hard costs, your soft costs, your acquisition, your exit strategy, all of that is so critical.
So critical. And what we're doing, guys, is we're preparing ourselves for the game. We're having the right numbers, and we're knowing the right lingo. So when we do get on the phone with the end buyer, we can be more valuable. When we are talking to the seller, we can be more valuable because we know more, and we're able to come to the table with more information versus the other agent or wholesaler or God knows who is out there pitching these prices or pitching these deals. So really important to understand that, guys. And what I want to say is be careful. We all see these deals. Purchase price $199, ARV $220, rehab $10K. What? That makes no sense.
Laughable.
So it really is. I got one yesterday. 585 purchase, duplex, ARV 625, rehab, and you can tell the property needs at least $100,000 worth of work. Rehab $25K. Like, Come on, guys, don't do that. So the point is that we want to share these numbers with you so you guys can understand where we need to be, and you can make sure you're not being that same person. Okay. And it's real, just like there's nothing complicated about that spreadsheet. It's 2%, 2 points, 10% for the year. Figure out what that is, and then figure out what the ARV is. Okay, guys, it's super, super simple. Now let's say this. And Nick Ramirez is really good at this. And Ty was the one who taught us this when we talked about big spreads versus thin spreads. If you do come across a deal where you have a thin spread, it's important that you know the right buyers. It's important that you know the right clientele to go after with those tight end deals, because there are buyers for those deals. But the importance is you have to find them, which we'll discuss on another call, but it's having that in the mind. So
I love it. No, very well said, Adrian. Also too, and I'll talk a little bit about thin deals and big spreads are easy to deal with, right? When you find a deal, a home run, which by the way, if you're really in this game, you're not finding big spreads every single day or every deal. Like the truth is you find a big spread probably depending on how active you are on your marketing, your engagement, your follow-up, all of that, you're probably getting a big spread every 4 to 7, 8, 10 deals, depending on how you're running your marketing and how you're reinvesting into your business and how you're actually executing. Meaning the doing part, right? Whether it's you or whether it's your team or whether you're leveraging systems, it's really important to just really understand that with a big deal, the big spread, that's pretty easy. You can make great money with bad numbers, meaning that you could, if you have a big spread, this used to happen to me all the time where, I would get a deal and it was kind of like, it wasn't great. Well, no, let me say that again. I would get a deal and it was actually a good spread, but I was not great at managing the deal. So like the construction, there was overruns. I was having contractor problems. I had to fire a subcontractor. I was learning. But the thing is, my saving grace was, and that's where Adrian, the conversation of safe zone is, if you have a big enough spread, you'll be okay. Right? That's the real important piece, is to really know, okay, is this a big spread? Is this a thin spread? On a thin spread too, that's where it really makes sense too, where a project may be over your head. For me, I don't like a lot of heavy demolition permits, room additions, weird properties where you have to, move walls and things like that. I like cosmetics. I like kitchens and bathrooms. I like retexturing, redoing surfaces. Have no problem doing HVAC, systems, roofs, no problem. But I don't want to have to, or I don't want projects where I have to gut the entire house, rewire it, new electrical panel, maybe even go through a design review, maybe even go through a neighborhood, design review, depending on the neighborhood, get approvals, HOA approvals, things like that. I don't want any of that. I want things to move quickly. For me personally, I'm not set up with the construction teams and all of that. I got a good team, a good construction team, but I like the easier, quicker deal. And so for me, not that I do thin deals, but I don't necessarily have to have huge spreads, as long as I know I can get in and out. So when I'm looking at a deal, if I can get in and out in, as an example, 15, 21 days, 25 days, I'm happy to do that deal and even take a little less return. So hopefully that makes sense and resonates for some people. I also want to just say, we want to see your questions. We can see the comments. I've got it up on my phone, so I'm I can see your guys' posts in the comments. And then we're also getting the feed, so you can see that's Pablo Escobar, by the way, that handsome kid right there, Nick Ramirez. If you can see him saying, let's go. That guy's an absolute machine. So,
yes. And so someone says less risk. And after I answer this, it'd be good if we could put Noemi's question up. Someone says less risk. And I want to touch on that real fast. Pitbull did an interview with Tony Robbins, if any of you guys caught it. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me on that call was risk. They talked about risk, and they talked about how in this right now, in this pandemic and what we're going through, there are so many people that are scared of taking risk. They're afraid of even breathing someone else's air for the sake of taking risk. So you guys, there is no reward that doesn't come without risk. If we want to win big, we're going to have to risk something. And that's not what this person is saying. This person is saying less risk based on what Ty's saying. And I'm tangenting off in a different direction here, so pardon me. But it's really important we understand this, guys, because in wholesaling, in real estate, in flipping, in lending, in title, unless we decide to take some sort of risk, there's never going to be some sort of big reward. Now, there are calculated risk, like Ty is talking about. We look at a property and go, okay, let's take less risk. Let's take the wholesale fee. And that way we're not doing that. Or maybe it's a little bit different. I'm not having to tear down this house and build units and go through that risk process. Yes, I agree 150%. But do not be afraid of taking the risk with yourself. Do not be afraid of taking the risk in this business, because it'll pay off if we're surrounded by the right people, and it'll pay off if we're doing the right thing.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more, Adrian, on that. And I would also just, I would piggyback and echo what you just said about that interview with Pitbull. For some of you, we've talked about it a little bit this week in some of the other accountability calls and such. But Tony Robbins interviewed Pitt, and he was just talking about, they were talking about the opportunity. Right now, when everybody's afraid is when you want to be bold. Right now, that doesn't mean get out over your skis and take on a big, heavy construction project. Like, so Noah and I right now, Noah Hoffman, he's doing a great job. We just got a contract on it, or we're getting a contract on a deal. The guy verbally committed. It's getting signed here, I think today, or maybe even signed this morning. But anyway, like with Noah, it's a pretty good deal. There's a good spread in it, but the construction is so complex. It makes more sense for us probably to wholesale it. Right now, we're not 100%. We still may consider, but for us, even here's the beauty too, is I love something that Adrian and Eddie and I've seen done too, is where when you have a strong relationship with somebody and they can bring a lot of strength, partnering with a contractor, right? Partnering with somebody who really, and I'm not talking about just the run of the mill. I'm saying somebody you really know, somebody that is, ride or die. Right. So you guys know what I mean when I say ride or die. If you think about all of your friends, everybody and everybody you spend time with, you probably have 3 to 4, 5, maybe 6 or 7 or 8. No more. I don't know anybody that has more than 7 or 8. Most people have 1 or 2 or 3 true ride or die people that you can depend on. Those are the people also that you could potentially partner with. So to Naomi's question, she says, how do you estimate rehab cost, Adrian? How do you do it? What's the quick way you do it? And then what's the extended version?
Yeah, quick way I do it is just understanding what the market is charging right now. Adrian, how do you know what the market is charging? Well, I get out there, I meet contractors, I ask them what they're charging. But long story short, short story long, the average right now is about $45 to $50 a square foot. On the low end, you're looking $30 to $35 a square foot. And that's if it's their crew. They're buying stuff at cost. They're not Home Depot in it. They're not Flow and Decor in it. It's completely different. So I'll take an estimate around there, minimum of 30, maximum of 50. So when I'm talking to somebody and their home is 2,000 square feet, for an example, and the average price per square foot is $50 a square foot for rehab, that tells me that's $100,000 rehab cost on a 200,000 or on a 2,000 square foot property. And that's an easy way to understand what's going on. Now, what I will say though, to this point, if you plan on eventually flipping, if you plan on doing a lot in the flip game, get out there and make connections with contractors. Know what contractors are pricing. Know what they are charging. Know what they are doing. It's really important you guys walk these jobs. You ask them questions. It's probably the best way for you to figure it out. And then here's the advanced move, which most people really don't do. Go to Home Depot and look at lumber costs. Go look at all of the different costs that is out there. Now, I'm not asking you to go down a rabbit hole. I'm asking you to know your market. I'm asking you to know your product. I'm asking you to know what you're selling and what their buyers are buying.
Spot on. I'll answer too, and I like this question too. And actually, you sparked a thought, a memory, Adrian. Specifically, I paid $5,000 to go to a boot camp back in the 1990s. And we basically did 3 things. So the first day we were inside the classroom or in the convention center, and we basically just kind of learned all about wholesale and retail real estate. and contracts and negotiation, real basic stuff though. Nothing, I mean, stuff you could get in a book, right? Nothing super complex. The big highlight of a $5,000 boot camp was day one. We went out and we looked at all the, like maybe 8 or 10 projects. We got in a bus and we went out and we looked at, okay, here's a finished product. This is what it looks like cleaned up, finished and staged. Here's one that's midway. Here's one we just bought. It still needs to be trashed out. But we looked at basically, I would say 8 or 10 projects that were in different phases of they just got acquired and they were getting prepared for market or going to market through a renovation. So that was day 2. And then day 3 was we went to Home Depot. We did some classroom stuff. And again, we took the bus and we all went to Home Depot and the guy walked around and explained to us, this is the kind of kitchen you put in. This is the kind of bathroom you put in. This is the kind of toilets. Depends on the price range. On the lower end property, remember the lower one, this is the kind of, bathroom that we'll put in. And then, okay, remember that nicer house, that one that was in a B neighborhood, not the C neighborhood, not the workforce housing, but the one that was a little bit nicer. We do this kitchen or bathroom. And then this one here that was in an A neighborhood, the one on the golf course, we're going to do, and here's what an A kitchen looks like and an A bathroom. I see so many rehabbers make the mistake of one or two things. I see it both ways. I see where they'll take a C neighborhood and they'll do all A finishes in it. Everything from the appliance packages to the finish work to, everything. And it's not, I'm not saying skimp. What I'm suggesting is that you you don't get an extra premium for that. You don't make more money. You don't get a bigger ROI. You actually wasted money. You probably wasted 15 to 20, maybe as much as 30% on your rate on your rehab by overpaying. And then the other opposite mistake I see is where somebody gets an A property in an A neighborhood and they do a C level finish. They use kind of all the low end, excuse my language, but the low end shit from Lowe's or Home Depot. And they do a very low-end kitchen, low-end bathrooms, low-end carpet, low-end flooring, the cheaper flooring. They cut corners. They do stupid things like not replace the hardware on the doors, like on some doors that don't need to be replaced, but they have gold finishes. And you got mismatched. Some of them are, polished nickel or, kind of a polished, that chrome, or not chrome, but, that lighter metal metallic look. I believe it's called polished nickel. And then you've also got the shiny gold, right? And you got this mix of hardware on the doors, little tacky stuff like that you really want to be careful on. So hopefully that helps. Let's do more questions.
To your point, Ty, a friend of mine had a property in Mission Viejo. So I'm in South Orange County. If any of you guys ever have referrals, I'm in South Orange County, and Ty is in Northern California, so NorCal and SoCal. But so long story short, guys, short story long, I had a buddy bought a property in Mission Viejo. They should have earned $120,000 profit on this deal. Those were the numbers. I remember seeing the deal come through. They outbidded me. They got it. So they bought the property. This is in direct correlation to what Ty's talking about. They bought the property. They closed on it. $120,000 earnings, net spread. Okay. Well, probably gross what they're going to earn. You guys, it's an A neighborhood. It's Mission Viejo. They did a Fontana rehab. The property sat on the market for 170 days. They went from potentially earning $120,000 to losing $86,000 because they had to redo the rehab. I went to the property. I said, redo the rehab. You got to take it all out. Take it all out. What do you mean? Take it all out. It all needs to go. Flooring, kitchen, bathrooms, it all needs to go. So, with to Ty's point, be careful. 120 profit to 170 days later with the negative 80-something thousand dollar loss, guys. Be careful.
Love it. Yeah, no, spot on. I also just want to say too, from a simplicity, like on your lower end properties, like, so again, like I know Adrian and Eddie, and I know you guys do really, really heavy, tear out and not new construction, but just heavy, all the way down to the studs and things like that. I personally don't do those types of projects unless it's just a home run grand slam and it's just ridiculous numbers. So, but what I would say is, like, for me, when I look at a deal, I'm almost always, the properties that I would rehab, or even the properties that I really market to and look for, they're usually 1,000 square feet to 15, 17, 1,800 square feet. They're usually in C neighborhoods. Occasionally I get some D neighborhoods, and occasionally I get some good solid B neighborhoods. But most of the stuff I deal with is C class. Why? Because that's where all the money is. That's where all the deals are. That's where, that's 80, 90% of the marketplace. So, you want to, go and you want to be in the market that makes sense. Also, too, when we're rehabbing, one of the big things for me is looking at the median value. So when I'm underwriting a deal, I'm going to look very specifically at what is the median value of the property specifically, or that city. I'm going to look at the median value. And then I just want to make sure that I'm around that median value and ideally under the median value. Why? Because it removes all the risk. It's a neighborhood that's turning. It's a neighborhood that's financeable. It's a neighborhood that's homogenous, meaning that it's typically tract housing. There's 300 or 400 homes built there, and there's 3 or 4 floor plans. And it's easy to comp. You've got comps, the appraisal's easy, all of that stuff. It all makes sense. So when I'm looking at stuff, I'm typically going, okay, 1,000 square feet, paint and carpet, some flooring. I'm looking at maybe $30 a square foot. I know for 30 grand, and I might get lucky. Maybe I get it done for 22 to 25. But I know that for $30 a square foot to do paint, carpet, maybe replace some countertops, paint the kitchen cabinets, those kinds of things, a light, easy cosmetic, I'm looking at $25 to $30 a square foot. And that's the way I would and that's also a good number, Naomi. And for those of you that are working in, like, say, the Inland Empire, or if you're working in the Central Valley, I work a lot in the Central Valley, Sacramento area. I work the East Bay of the San Francisco, Oakland Bay area. That's a pretty good number. So hopefully that helps. Adrian, am I missing anything?
No, spot on. And I do want to elaborate, because this question came up on last week's call in regards to what is an A, B, or C market. And it's pretty it's exactly what it's saying, right? An A market is an A neighborhood, right? You got an A on the test. That's a good area, right? Typically you're seeing what are you seeing in A neighborhoods? You're seeing the grocery store. How am I forget? Whole Foods, right? You're seeing a Whole Foods in an A neighborhood, right? You're seeing what else would they see in an A neighborhood, Ty?
You have, like, golf courses. You've got the new parks. Typically, you're going to have the smaller, like in my neighborhood where I live in a tract housing area, but the homeowners association, which is very light, we have our own little private park. Now, anybody could show up and play in the park, but that park's paid for by the HOA. So that's a perfect example of an A neighborhood.
And then you have the B neighborhoods, more like, maybe there's not a Whole Foods, but there's a Sprouts and there's a Ralph's, right? And there's no Food for Lesses, but there's a Ralph's and there's a Vons, right? But it's a B neighborhood. Tract homes is typically what we're seeing. And then you have your C neighborhoods, right? Where you more than likely are going to see a Food for Less, right? Or you're going to see more 99-cent stores, right? And a good way also, guys, is pay attention to the cars in the neighborhood. Like, one thing Kellyanne and I do, my wife and I, when we're driving around, she'll start looking at the cars, and I'll ask her, she'll be like, B neighborhood, C neighborhood. She'll tell me, like, based on what the cars are in. Go to Beverly Hills, you're not seeing too many broken down cars. You go to a Monarch Beach, I highly doubt you're going to see most of the cars out there, Lexus, BMW, Audi, something like that, and then all of a sudden I go to, I don't know, Barstow, and it's a different car, right? You're not seeing a Porsche driving down the road of Barstow. It's a little bit different. So just understanding that, guys, and being aware of it also, keeping your eyes open, right? What we're really doing here is we are raising our level of consciousness. We're taking our level of consciousness to a new level so we can start to be aware of and start to identify these different little aspects and nuances and different things in this marketplace that we haven't been aware of before.
Yeah, I love it. I just want to also comment on the C neighborhoods also, is that typically too, the streets are typically more narrow, because you have a lot. So you have a lot of, in the C neighborhoods, you have a lot of families that two families living there, or the adult children are living there. They're living with mom and dad. They're helping out with the bills. So, you'll see a household in a C neighborhood. The family might have 4 cars, right? So there's no room in the driveway. There's cars on the street. The street's tight, that kind of thing. And then also too, I would say that D neighborhoods, and this is interesting too, because I get people that, try to sell me on, oh no, it's a good neighborhood. It's a solid C neighborhood. And I'm like, no, dude, this is a B minus. This is a D minus neighborhood. And all wholesale deals in the D neighborhoods, but I know that I've got to buy them a little less, and I got to pass them on. They got to be a really good deal also on my exit. But a D neighborhood is, and this is a real critical one, and everybody will kind of smile or laugh when they hear it. But when you drive around, there's a lot of liquor stores, convenience stores, and then even a lot of churches, which is kind of crazy. It's interesting. I know I love the churches, but there's a lot of churches in there, little micro churches that are niche. It's like different, different types of congregations, a lot of niche church groups. And, there's neighborhoods that I work in, that I used to live in, that, there's 3 liquor stores within a mile, and there's, 4 churches. So that's very, very normal in a D neighborhood.
And to add to that, which is new now, are the dispensaries. You'll see them. There's multiple dispensaries in a road. I'm talking about a marijuana dispensary. You'll see those in the D areas, right? It's funny. I was driving through Needles, California, over the weekend, and we hit this one area, and there was 5 dispensaries on one street. And I'm like, this is a D area. This is a 150% D area. And as I turn the corner, just as Ty says, a church, and a liquor store, right? So start to be aware of that stuff, guys.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Is there anything else we want to talk about on underwriting?
What I will say, I'm not going to, I hope I don't confuse anybody here, but when we are looking at, we talked about a spread, $150,000. Let's just say that, we're looking at $100,000 difference between 500,000 and we think we need to come in at 400,000. What I would say to you guys is do your best to go 70 to 75% of where you want to end up. So your initial pitch, if you are to pitch, is anywhere between 70 to 75% off of where you want to end up. So if you want to end up at 100K, start pitching at 70 to 75, so you have negotiation room to hit that 100K. Okay, now don't disrespect them, don't hit them super low, but just keep that in mind.
Very good. Very good. I think, is my internet cutting out a little bit, Adrian?
I don't know. No,
Sometimes it slows down. I'm just wondering. Okay, all good. So yeah, actually, and Ryan Peterson said it. He said it pretty well too. He said that in D neighborhoods, you got check cashing, right?
Yes,
right? Isn't that true?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you see check cashing, and again, it's not. We do business, and I'll do business in war zones. I'll do business in any neighborhood, any property. If it's distress and there's an opportunity, I'll do business. But here's the difference too. And I just want to throw this out there more as a safety recommendation, is that when you go out to a D neighborhood or even an F neighborhood, right, a war zone, you just really want to be careful. And what I would suggest is you just want to get in and out of there, go in the morning. So in fact, I see a lot of you at the 9 a.m., accountability, and we're all prospecting. It's very rare, but I only break my schedule in the morning for 2 things. And it's because I'm going into a neighborhood that it's like I need to get in there at 10:30 and get out, just to be smart, just to be safe, just don't want to take the chance. Or, maybe I'm going somewhere a little further. I'm going to San Francisco, or I'm going to the Bay Area. So that's also an important piece. So I love that smile, Adrian.
It's funny. Joe Perez says, "Damn, I have a check cashing spot in my neighborhood."
I see that. Well, cool, man. Cash them checks. As long as you got checks to cash, man, that's what's up. So
that's all, dude. That's so good. So it's funny, Joe. You're in a different area though, Joe. You go a mile up the street and you have $1 million houses. You go a mile south and it's different. So don't give us that one.
I love it. That's Joe Perez in the house. Cool. So What else? Is there anything else? I feel like we've really covered this pretty thoroughly. Should we jump into the business plan or?
Yeah, well, let's do that. We have 15 more minutes and we needed to go through Q&A.
It's going to be quick. It's going to be quick. So
I really want you guys to pay attention to this, to what we're about to go through. Do not get off. Do not go anywhere. Wait to go to the restroom. Wait to go to lunch. You're not going to want to miss this. Ty created this for us, guys. It's really good. Nonetheless, it's really going to set us up for the rest of February. So please take some notes.
Absolutely. So a couple of things is that what I want to share is, can you see my screen, Adrian?
Yeah, looks good.
Cool. All right. So what you can see there is this is a monthly business plan. And specifically, what we want to do is, like we said in the very beginning of the call, is that this is a new month. It's a new beginning, right? Everybody talks about the new year, and this is my year, and 2020 was shit, and now 21, I'm going to crush it. And guess what? You've got to execute month in and month out. It's all about the monthly execution. And so what I would encourage everybody, just because it's the beginning of the month, by the way, we'll get this out to you. I believe we have Naomi is now helping us kind of run the back end of this. Thank you, Naomi. We're going to get this out to you guys. I know that sometimes, also be sure to check your spam filter. So it'll go out this afternoon by 3:00. And then you know what I'll do is I'll actually even post it in the Facebook group as a PDF. So I want to encourage you this month to reset, right? Whether you had a great month in January, guess what? You need to double down and you need to make it an awesome February so you have even more momentum going into the year. Now, I know a lot of people, maybe you didn't have such a good January. Well, guess what? We need to double down with our activities and our execution to go out there and actually make some things happen. Adrian, would you agree?
150%, guys. And remember, yes, a lot of people say, well, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I agree with that statement. But think about this. If we don't start off strong, what are we doing in the summer months? What are we doing June, July, August, September, October? What's happening when we are behind in the months of January, February, and March? What happens? We end up kicking ourselves into overdrive. We end up being stressed out. We end up being overloaded. We end up being overwhelmed because we're trying to get all this done in this limited amount of time because we didn't take advantage of quarter 1. And as Mike Ferry has talked about, we've heard this over and over again, most agents do their production in 1 or 2 quarters of the year. So it's typically quarter 2 to quarter 3 is where everybody makes all their money, and then they check out quarter 5 or quarter 4, and you can't see them quarter 1, right? So if we can get ahead quarter 1, this will allow us to do a couple of things. Number 1, it will allow you to take the time off if you wanted to in those remaining months, or it will allow you to double your production, pass your goal, go far past what you had originally established because you front-loaded your year, just as we should be front-loading our day and our week. So that's what I would say about that.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, I didn't have a great January. Why didn't I have a great January? And I'll tell you guys, I had a decent January. I did not have a great January. In my opinion, it was a below average January, but I'll tell you why. I took a bunch of time off during December. Even though I was showing up and I was doing some work and I was putting things in motion, I was doing just that. I was just in motion. I was not the same intensity, not the same level of intent or attention and focus to really get things done. So I'm going to go back to this form here and just share with you. So very, very simple. At the top there, you'll see the monthly business plan and you put the month in, February. Your deal goal, okay? So how many deals would you like to get for the month? Also, too, I think somewhere in the upper right-hand corner, I would put, what is your annual goal? So if your goal is to do 25 deals this year, or 50 deals this year, or 75 deals, 100 deals, whatever that is, write that big and fat up in the upper right-hand corner. But here's the thing. How do you achieve really big goals? It's taking those little steps, right? It's the little actions. It's those little things, right? It's all the execution of getting to the office on time, making your first call, showing up to your role plays, executing on the marketing, right? I know a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to do this marketing. I'm going to use batch leads. I'm going to do all of this stuff. And the truth is I even know it's true for me, is that I've got to constantly be pulling myself back in and saying, okay, what are we going to execute this week? What are we going to execute today? What are we going to execute this month? So if we look at this form, and I'm going to scroll down. Hopefully you guys can see this. So a couple things is that we've got the hours prospected. If you're not prospecting, you're making a huge mistake. I know some of you, most of you are prospectors. Great job. I know there's a handful of you that don't prospect. I would highly encourage you to get on the phones and start really learning how to prospect. And even if nothing else, get with batch leads, get yourself set up with some text campaigns, do something that's proactive so that you're constantly getting out there, reaching out to people to find new business. Because that's what the prospecting is about. The prospecting, how many days are you going to work for the month? Okay. How many hours are you going to prospect daily? How many contacts are you going to make per day? And then also for the month. So as an example, there's actually, for the month of February, it's a perfect 28-day month. So if you look at the month of February, there's actually Monday through Friday, it's a perfect 20-day work month. Okay. If you're working some Saturdays, you could make it 21, 22 days. But here's the thing. How many days are you going to work? How many of those days are you going to prospect? How many hours are you going to prospect? How many contacts are you going to make per day? If you make your, let's call it 25 contacts a day for 20 days, how many contacts are you going to have for the month? That's what's going to be in the monthly column. So also looking at listings taken, listings sold. How many listings would you like to take? I know we got a lot of realtors on here. How many listings? If you're normally taking one now and then, what if you were to get 2 or 3 this month, right? What's possible if you really put your head down and get after it? Adrian?
So good. And there's a quote I posted on my Instagram this morning. It's a racing quote. In racing, they say the car goes where your eyes go. The driver who can't tear his eyes away from the wall as he spins out of control will eventually meet that wall. The driver who looks down the track as he feels his tires break free will regain control of this vehicle. Your car goes where your eyes go. And it's very simple here, guys. We manifest what we focus on. Where focus goes, energy flows. What we focus on expands. We've all heard these different sayings before. And just as if in racing, the car goes where your eyes go, your business goes where your eyes go. Your business goes where your focus goes. Your income goes where your focus goes. So it's important we do these business plans. It's important we keep it in front of us. It's important where we iterate it every single day, because as we can focus on that, that's where our eyes at, and that's where we're going to go. If we're focusing over here on all the shit that can go wrong, if we're focusing over here on all the things that we could have, should have, would have done, guess what we're going to get? Could have, should have, would have versus results.
Spot on. Spot on, Adrian. I want to also, too, if you guys have questions about this business plan, it's a monthly planner. Like I said, it'll be posted in the Facebook group. So if you're not in the, well, obviously you are, because that's where you're watching this. Haha, just kidding. It will be in the Facebook group. And then also we will email it out, Dropbox link. So if you have questions about the planner, please post those now. And then also if you have questions on anything we talked about today, post those now. And I'm going to wrap up, and then we're going to do some Q&A, and then we'll wrap up. But again, if you're not a listing agent, if you're just purely a wholesaler and investor, how many deals are you going to buy, right? So we buy, how many offers are you going to make? Investment, wholesale, or flips. How many deals would you like to get this month? How many new deals this month? Okay. How many closed transactions for the month? How much income earned for the month? Okay. All of those things we need to declare and set an intention, and then set an attention, right? An intention followed by attention, which is your focus. That's how you get things done. That was the racing metaphor that Adrian just shared. And then the last part of this is the skills and strategies or adjustments needed, okay? What do you need to adjust? What strategies, what skills do you need to add in? What markets or marketing must you implement? And then the most important one on here is absolute must. No matter fucking what, excuse my language, excuse my French, but no matter what are you going to do? So as an example, a no matter what for me this month, is 25 contacts, no matter what, every single day, day in and day out. That's an absolute must for me. Why? Because last month, or even in December, some days I'd make 8 or 10 contacts. Some days I'd make 3. Some days I'd make 40. Some days I was, doing 12, and I had a delusion. I was actually thinking that I was, because the days I would do 30 or 40 or 50, I'm doing 50 contacts a day in my mind, right? That's what I was thinking, right? Bullshit. That's why I had a slower January. I'm just being honest with you guys. So we want to make sure we execute. Let's go to Q&A. Q&A, post your questions in the chat. It's great to see so many great people too. Jesse, great to see you. Amado, good to see you. Paul, Jesse, Abraham, good to see so many of you guys. Post your questions.
Abraham, what's going on? Jesse Garcia Morphin in the building, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Jesse? Great to see you. I'll never forget, I was early in the game, and I was trying to leave the office early, right? Wanted to go hang out with my friends and have a good time. And I'm leaving. It's like 5:30 in the afternoon. And you guys ever leave before 7 o'clock? I don't know, Anyways, so it's 5:30 in the afternoon. Office is dead. I'm walking out, and Jesse's walking in. He goes, "Where are you going?" I go, "I'm out for the day." And he goes, you have more money than I do?" And at the time, I'm 19, 20 years old, right? I look at him like in my head, I'm like, asshole, no, like, of course I don't, right? And then I go, no. And he goes, well, then sit your ass back down. You got work to do, kid. Until you got more money than I do, sit your ass back down. Until this day, Jesse, I'm still sitting here. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. We always need that one person in our life that goes, sit your ass back down, get to work. And it stuck with me, dude. So thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate you, brother.
I love it. So Monica Molina asked, are short sales an opportunity?
Yeah. Short sales are an opportunity. If you can find them, you can get them. 150% they're an opportunity. Ty, so Ty is really big on the, Ty, one of our sources when we look at it all right is NODs, pre-foreclosures. So Ty, would you elaborate a little bit more on the short sale opportunity?
Yeah. So what I would say is it may be a thing at the end of the year. It could be a thing as we progress, but it won't be a major thing. It won't be like anything I've seen over the last several years. So it's really important to understand that, yeah, you might come across, I've got a couple of deals now that I'm like, this could be a short sale. And then the way I make a decision on it of whether to pursue it or not is it's based on the attitude and the level of communication with the seller. If they're cool, if they're cooperative, if they communicate well, when I call them, they call me back, they reply to my texts, when I, email, whatever, like if they have good communication, then I would probably be willing to pursue it. But I'll tell you what, the people that are evasive, that are hiding out, that ghost you, that, there's no need to chase those. You're going to waste a lot of time with those. And you got to remember these people, if they are a short sale or they are in pre-foreclosure, there's a reason. There is absolutely a reason that they're probably avoiding and not really dealing with life and life circumstances. So that's really, really important. So I don't know if Adrian, if you guys can see on the screen, if he loves me as his brother or someone else. So I'm just kidding. I'm just all right. I don't see any more questions. So I think we crushed it. It's 12:59 by my watch. Is there anything else, Adrian, that we want to share or cover? Or did we miss anything in the comments?
No, I don't think we missed anything. I really want to encourage you guys to fill out the business plan that Ty sent us. It's really important, and there's something powerful by filling that out. So TY, I thank you for creating that for all of us. I'm really excited to fill it out and really make sure, guys, that we do a checkup from the neck up and figure out where you should be year to date compared to your plan. Figure out where you're at, figure out where you need to be, and figure out what you need to do to catch up. It's the second month. We have plenty of time to do this. We have plenty of time to get after it. But I believe that there are two things that will hold us back. I believe that overthinking, trying to get everything right, trying to understand everything about the process, overanalyzing, overinterpreting, that can be the killer of our success. And number two, the second thing and I'll say this slightly, is hanging around and being around everybody else who's really not pushing the envelope, who's real stagnant, who's okay with what's going on and talks more about what's going on with the president and the virus versus more than talking about business. So I think these two things will play a big factor. So number one, keep it simple, execute. And number two, keep your head where it belongs, and that's in the game.
Spot on, head in the game. So we are absolutely, make sure that if you're not registered, you get yourself registered. Go to squad-up.com. Make sure to go in there and just sign up. That way we can send you invitations. We do some other like accountability, 9 a.m. prospecting group. If you have an interest in joining that, again, go opt in and then we can communicate with you about that. The mentorship's kicking off tomorrow. We're excited. We had several of you enroll. Thank you for your trust. We're excited. We will not let you down. We are going to help you crush it this year and beyond and give you the tools, the skill sets, the strategies you need to really grow and have exponential growth, not linear growth, not like just a little bit more, but to really create and design that life that you want, that life that you've been dreaming about, you know, of really having financial freedom, income, having the free time, some free time, having systems in place, all of those things. So absolutely, we're excited. Should we say something about the 26th or no, should we hold that?
Not yet. We'll hold off. Just keep this in your mind, guys. We are having an event towards the end of February, early March. It's going to be more of like a collaborative event. Everybody comes down, collaborates. Jason Thorman, Jason, I see you, brother. Love to have you there. Great to see you, man. Jason's another great person to know in this industry. So we're really looking forward to that, guys. Please mark your calendars towards the end of February, early March. And then we also sent out an email yesterday in regards to something special that Ty and I are doing. So if you guys have any questions about that, check your email, check your spam. We'll love to help you with that. And I'll leave you with this, guys. They said this on the interview with Pitbull and Tony Robbins. Pitbull says, small steps, big dreams. Small steps, big dreams. Small steps, ladies and gentlemen. Think big. Thank you all. Make it a great day. TY. Closes out.
Great job. Love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please share it with your friends. Invite other people. Thank you so much.
See y'all soon.